Hello, I'm going to try to make this video short and I'm going to be talking about my mastering chain, which is something I mentioned in one of the videos, had people ask, so why not go through it. So the way I have this set up is for each track in a montage. I have some effects and those are just typically copied over, so if an album that I receive has 10 tracks, then I have 10 channels to process those, and I would just duplicate this one track that is in my template. After that, all of those channels get summed up into the master output of that montage, and that just comes with a really slight, some EQing limiting, basically, like a final limiter that is the same for all the tracks. Sometimes that really doesn't work and I have to go around that, but most of the time that just works. To go through the effects that are on the individual tracks for every song, meaning that those are different for each song that I'm processing. What I go for here is to have some effects that are really common that I don't want to load all of the time. Does not mean that I'm using all of them all the time on all the tracks, but these are just really common things and I want to save time by not loading them again and again. So the first one is going to be Saturn, and that's just the first one right now. Sometimes I might move one of the EQs before it, if I feel that I need to EQ something out before it goes into saturation, before I start adding harmonics. Honestly, there's not too much to say about Saturn, aside of you watching a video that explains it, but it's really versatile, and you can say that about any plugin that you can just slam onto any kind of input signal, but Saturn really is versatile. It has a lot of different types of saturation, it can be multiband, it has a lot of modulators that can affect almost all the parameters, which is really cool. You can't say that about every saturator. Most of the saturators are quite basic. Even though they do have a good sound, they are quite basic. This is, in my opinion at least, super advanced in a sense of how many options you have for processing the sound, what you can do with it. And I like the sound of it, by the way, which is also really important. Not just geekery, just geeking out on how many things you can do, but I also do like the sound of it. Now I also have this Vertigo there, and I like the sound of that too. In between those two, I basically have it covered. If it so pans out that none of these work, I will try the third one, if I really think I do need saturation. And sometimes you don't. Have music that can't really stand any more saturation, it will be horrible. So just bypass both of those and stay without them. This one is also nice because it's easy to set up certain things in it. Has the transformer, the triode, the pentode. You can map those to different parts of the signal, to mid or the side, certain frequency bands in the mid or the side. It's really nice. And you can also hear the distortion solos. So that's also really cool. And as I said, that's the second thing in the chain now, but it doesn't really have to be. It could be moving depending on what the song requires. If you're really expecting somebody to just give you a blueprint of what everything should be like, and I mean, you can just copy this and use it on any song, but I guarantee you that if you experiment and try things differently for different source materials, you might get a better result. So practice is more important than just having a blueprint saying, do it this way. The third thing in line is the Kirchoff EQ, and it's just the third processor in line. I have another EQ, which is the Pro-Q4 right after it, also completely blank and empty, and those might change positions depending on what I need them to do. So sometimes I might use one of them before certain saturation and then the other one after that saturation. There are many different combinations which could benefit that. You could do that before compressing, before saturating, but still I have two of them, and the two of them, most of the things they do are similar and the same. There is a slight difference in the Pro-Q4. I have some spectral dynamics that I can do with each of the bands, and in Kirchoff EQ I can just slowly slide in between the mid and the side effect, let's say, or the left and right effect of a single filter band. After that I have a de-esser, and I might need a de-esser. And I really mean that, like in a de-esser kind of way, to de-ess a vocal, or maybe even use it to stop really sharp transients in certain productions. So I do like a de-esser like this. Just have it on the channel, and if I don't need it, it doesn't do anything. So none of these are actually affecting the signal. All of their thresholds are at 0, so none of them actually do anything when I first introduce a signal and play it. That being said, things tend to color the sound. So if I really suspect something's off, I will bypass everything just to see if I'm going crazy or not. So it does happen, but from my experience, they don't change the sound so much that I have to worry about it. So next in line is Melda Mspectraldynamics. I do have a specific starting preset on it, which is mostly mid-side, and I have it the slope of 4.5, and I have it unlinked. So I have the mid and the side unlinked, have it going really slow. So let's say like 1,000 release. So there's a certain preset here that I just tend to use, and just keep it that way until I need to change it. Honestly, there are very few situations where I need to use this on a master, but when I do need to use it, really shines. Most of the time, it's not on songs that actually have drums in them. So when orchestration happens, I can use this to just keep the balance at times when it really goes off in dynamics. Meaning that when you're dealing with orchestral music, it has a really high dynamic range, and sometimes I really do have to tame it. I choose a combination of having spectral dynamics, just tame certain parts of the signal, and really never tight. So I never do that so it tightens up just like one harmonic that, you know, is pushing through. I try to be more transparent as possible, and what really allows me to do that is that I can always keep this range at like, let's say 1 or 2 dB. So I never do too much gain reduction with it. I just try to make this one work with the others and help in that dynamic reduction. It tries to take care of some of the things that jump out, and then I have some compressors. Now, I don't use all of them, but some of them I really like the sound of. This Thrillseeker LA MK2 is, I don't know, I really like the plugins from Variety of Sound. And I've said that in many videos. I really like his plugins, and I'm really hoping they're coming to Mac because I'm switching to Mac OS soon. And yeah, I'm really gonna miss these, but what can you do? Superior performance and better life. So this is one of the compressors I really like to use, sometimes in parallel, which does give me some phase issues sometimes, which are noticeable or not noticeable. Depends. As I said, I listen to the result, and if I like it, yeah, that's it, I use it. So this is one of the compressors that I might use. And then I have the AMEK. I really like this one. I've made videos about this one. It's, for me, really easy to use, easy to get a really nice sounding result. Nice sounding main thing about it. And I do have a VCA clip in it, and I also like the sound of that VCA clip on certain source material. I have the Kotelnikov Gentleman's Edition. What can I say? It's a really nice compressor that sounds smooth depending on what kind of setup you use. It's also, how would I say, versatile? The word is thrown around so much with plugins these days, but it is versatile. Has this dual release operation, which really helps sometimes with keeping it transparent. After that, I have the Kclip, and sometimes it's the Kclip, sometimes it's the standard clip. It depends what I like better on a certain sound. It's a clipper. I don't think there's too much difference. Like, there is a difference, of course, and if it really comes down to it, me suspecting that something is off because of the clipper that I'm using, then I might try a different clipper to see if that helps. Yeah, most of the times it doesn't, and if it does, I'll tend to it. But yeah, I like the Kclip as well. I like the standard clip too. So this is just being there on the track in case I do have some runaway transients to tame, but it is bypassed. Because I'm afraid that this one would, out of the gate, you know, maybe catch some transients that I really want to hear before starting to process anything. And before I start to process anything, I would, of course, most of the times just bypass this output, which has limiting on it, you know, in processing that I don't want to impair on the original audio before I actually hear it, so I can, you know, judge what I need to do. So the first thing that everything comes into after they're done, it comes into this EQ, which is there. It's just, you know, cutting off some low frequencies from the mid information and cutting off some low frequencies of the side, higher, a bit higher, which is a bit too high here, but this is just to be safe. So this is usually going to be on the channel. It also is raising a tiny bit of the stereo in the super high frequencies. Honestly, it's there, and most of the times I just leave it on. This happens with the linear phase filter configuration. So I'm not using any hard filters to cause a lot of ringing, but still, if I suspect that this could be the reason I'm hearing something bad, well, I'll definitely reduce, first of all, the frequency where I'm cutting the stereo field, and after that I have the Pro-MB, which I don't really use all the time, but I like to have additional control with 6 bands, which are just, you see, 0.8 kind of reduction. So just trying to somehow, on certain material, control the balance. That's all. If anything goes out of hand, controls the balance. If a certain frequency just tries to dominate everything, just a tiny bit control it. That's all. Not too much. We're not trying to make everything flat. That would be stupid. But we're just trying to control it if we do need. Everything's here, but it doesn't mean that I use it all the time. And I go into Elephant. Elephant goes into Pro-L2, those two in a line, and one of them does true peak, the other one doesn't. Usually the second one, the Pro-L2, does the true peak limiting. I do prefer Voxengo Elephant on a lot of things, as well as I do prefer Pro-L2 on a lot of things, but you know, that always depends. Pro-L is versatile, Elephant is versatile, they really can handle a lot of different tasks. What I did notice is that with really bass heavy material, and that's at least just my experience so far, with bass heavy material, Elephant has shown me less distortion. So the way it does the release on most of its algorithms is quite nice, and it doesn't produce so much distortion, as well as on acoustic stuff. I don't know, like pianos and stuff, when they really have some hard notes hitting. Voxengo really handles it really nice. I don't really have to go in a mode like the safe mode in the Pro-L2, so I can just use the Elephant to handle most of the work and then have the Pro-L do the true peak limiting, and that will be it. Now, aside of that, I have some analyzers that I always keep active. So I have 2 spans like this. One of them is showing me the mid side image, so it's showing me the mid and the side separately, and the other one shows me the stereo balance. Both of those in a really slow, so 6-second average, so that I can just see the energy of the signal and just see, maybe I'm fooling myself, maybe I like something that is quite fishy, or if something is actually already fishy, I can be, okay, yeah, I'm right. So it's just another helper. And then for no reason at all, I have this oscilloscope just in case I need it. Most of the times I don't, but I have it there in case I want to see the signal. And again, I'm getting back to the point of the story. If I think something is off, I can use it to check it out, which is not the case with the spans. They are always active on another screen, so I always have them there. And I use this analogy in millions of conversations with people and in videos. And yeah, always mix and master, do everything with your ears. But even Woo meters were invented for a reason, and they are on the consoles for a reason. So saying like, I don't need to look at the signal is stupid. Of course, you don't need to look at the signal to master it, but it's nice to have some measurement. So when you build a house, you don't just say, that's vertical, get another floor on there. It's not how you do it. You have lasers and tools to measure stuff, to measure how much it's vertical or horizontal. Is it actually perfectly in level? So you do use additional tools to help you. And basically, that would be it. That's the mastering chain. Sorry if this wasn't like a blueprint, do it like this and it's always going to be good kind of video, but that really doesn't exist. If you really want something like that, just use isotope ozone and use the auto AI mastering, and that's it. Probably be good as well for you. But if you really want to get a result and you like what you do, yeah, you have to experiment sometimes. Check this, check that. Most of the times, most of these actually sound well, even when all of them are used. There are times when most of them don't, when I have to bypass most of the chain to actually get a decent result. I hope you like this video. If you hate my stupid glasses, say something in the comments. If you're not subscribed, please do. It will help the channel. If you like the video, give it a like. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, have the time, check out the course at mixingacademy.com. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.